Hey everybody!
Hi.
Welcome to Hashtag Pastor Besties. I'm Nicole.
I'm Melissa.
And today we are talking about transitions.
Part one.
Part one.
We just passed Methodist New Year. July 1st is typically when there's a lot of pastoral changes that happen. And so we've got some thoughts on how you start well in a new congregation. So, transitions, starting well, part one.
Stay tuned. Transitions.
Yes.
So hard. Pastoral transitions are so hard because they come and then you have to hit the ground running.
Yeah. So, how many transitions have you been through?
I'm in my second appointment.
Okay. I'm in my third appointment.
So, we're relatively...
We're pros.
But we're going to act like it and give you some advice.
That's right. We have learned some things.
Totally learned some things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, to start with, you have to start with, so let's start with cutting ties. Which is so hard.
It's so hard. Because you love these people.
Absolutely. You've been a part of their lives. They've been a part of your life.
The highs and the lows.
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that we probably should really recommend is to make sure that you know what your conference or your tradition or what their standards are for what that means.
Right.
Because some have different sort of standards.
Yeah.
You don't want to not follow.
I don't think our congregation or our conference has any rules. At least I wasn't told of any when I transitioned. But there's some they're unwritten.
Right.
Which is maybe not helpful.
Right. In the United Methodist tradition, we always have that you don't go back to your church. Is that discipline?
I don't know.
I feel like it is. Maybe I've just been told it so many times that I think it is. It's a good idea.
That's smart. Yeah. Unless you're invited or have a...
Well, so even that's tricky.
Right. That's true.
So don't go back for funerals, for weddings, for baptisms. Don't do those things. And don't put the person who followed you in an awkward position to be like, well, but they're okay with it if you're okay with it. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do it.
Mm-mm. Because the new pastor needs to have those moments with them to bond. And while you have already bonded with that family, your time with them has passed.
Right. So I think that there's the difference of opinions in terms of do you also unfriend from Facebook or do you unfollow from all forms of social media? And some people have different opinions, and again, your conference or your district superintendent or your tradition may have something that they would say.
Right. And some conferences, that's a hard and fast rule.
Yes.
I think you just have to use discretion for me because it's not a rule in my conference. So, don't go on somebody's page and say, oh, I see you're having a hard time. I'm praying for you. Even though maybe you are praying for them.
Right.
Telling them that is an act of pastoral care.
Right.
And you're not their pastor anymore.
Right.
And you might be undermining the current pastor.
Yeah, and I think I have put folks in previous congregations in a specific list on Facebook. And that's not just for me to they can see what I post or what I don't post, whatevs. But also for me to be I don't want to see that. I don't want to see what they're posting.
Well, it hurts.
Right.
Because you love them and you can't be in a relationship with them like you have been.
Right.
So sometimes, that's just smart to do. I've found that, over a little bit of time, they sort of fall off of your news feed. So that's,
Yeah. I have a hard time in general in life, let alone with previous congregations, unfriending people from Facebook.
It's like a slap in the face.
I'm I won't unfriend you, but I'll put you on restricted, which is basically the same thing.
You're too kind. That's not a bad thing.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I get it.
So I think in general I have a hard time unfriending people, but especially when it comes to folks who I've been in relationship with. I know these people, and I don't want to cut ties completely, and yet I don't want to undermine my colleague, and I also don't want to undermine the ministry that I'm doing in my current appointment.
Right. I think it can be really helpful to form a good relationship with your predecessor, because they can give you a lot of information in your new appointment that you don't have, but then you can pass information back that they don't have as well. And so that can be really helpful and appropriate.
Absolutely. We should be good colleagues together.
Well, we're connectional. We're Methodist.
Connectional. Like, why we shouldn't be afraid of each other. Right. I almost said scared of each other.
Scared.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared of each other. Don't be that. No. So build relationships with your colleagues. Yeah. So even probably a year after I had transitioned from one church to another, I received a phone call from a member of the previous church who wanted some pastoral support from me, who had said that I had been there for them in a particular time. They wanted to hear from me again, and I didn't respond. And I called my colleagues right away and just said, I don't know details. Here's what I know. I'm telling you. And that's
so great. That's exactly like how to handle that situation 101. Yeah, you could teach a lesson on that. And you just did.
But it was hard. Like, I mean, it was hard to be like,
of course.
Because what if they don't follow up? What if they don't take care of it? Like, or what if they don't do it the way that I would? They're not going to.
That's the hardest part, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, oh, are they going to do it the way I would do it? Because my way is obviously the best.
Right. And so, I mean, building those relationships and having that trust with your colleagues, too.
Right.
That, no, they're not going to do it the way that you would.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's painful, and yet they're that person's pastor.
Right.
You have to let them be their pastor.
Yes. Oh, cutting ties. Wow.
Oh, it's hard.
So let's shift gears a little bit.
Yes, please, let's do it. Hey, you know what we should do? We should transition.
Done.